This is Law of Evolution, and I wanted to have a quick conversation with you guys today, right? Because the No Man's Sky community has undoubtedly one of the most dedicated, patient, and giving gaming communities out there. But there is one single solitary issue that attempts to create a rift in this unity, and that is duping. Before we get started, let me try to clear up a couple misconceptions about dupers versus, let's just call them non-dupers. Some of the misconceptions about dupers is that they don't really care about the devs' hard work, right? Or they don't really care about how the devs want the game to be played, and they always kind of seek the easy way out, right? And they need to cheat to have fun. These are some big misconceptions about dupers. About non-dupers, some of those big misconceptions are that, there's some goody two-shoes. They act like that if you don't play the game the way that they play their game, that it's not being played correctly. Those are just some of the misconceptions about dupers and non-dupers. Man, all of them are incorrect. They're just all incorrect. Dupers, or people that do item dupes or glitches, cheats, things of those sorts, they are actually very dedicated players. They just very much would like to be doing something else with their time. A duper, instead of spending a lot of hours crafting or grinding to get a certain item, these players would very much like to be spending their times doing other things in the game. And when it comes to non-dupers, you know what? Those are a lot of misconceptions. Non-dupers, man, they're just really people that like to play the game straight up. They really like the rewarding feeling of starting from nothing, grinding their way up legitly, and being able to brag about, hey, you know what? Look what I did. I actually did this, and I did it legit. And that's fine. Both of the ways that you play the game are fine, as long as you're playing the game. So one thing that we need to kind of get out of the way right now is that Hello Games knows about dupes, and they know that they exist. There is no doubt in the world that HG knows that they are there. Why? Because they spend time patching these dupes when they surface, but they just don't patch them all. And so when it comes to, things like the Zendesk, you know that they get a lot of reporting from the Zendesk when it comes to glitches, bugs, workarounds that shouldn't be there. So we know that HG is getting a lot of information on it. And not only that, but Hello Games has a massive amount of player data. Hello Games knows how you're playing the game. They know how long you're playing the game, and they know what you're doing when you're playing the game. So it's not lost on HG that you're duping, that you've somehow spent billions of units more than you've actually acquired. HG has a lot of information about how we play their game, right? So the excuse can't be used that HG doesn't know about it, right? Or HG is unaware that these things are there because they have a small team, or because they're just so busy working on other things, other updates and stuff like that, that they just don't have the time to attack them, or they don't know that it's out there. That's not true. And with that being said, all dupes are not created equal. And the reason I think that all dupes are not created equal is because of Hello Games' interaction with those bugs. Big dupes, big huge dupes are patched. Smaller dupes, smaller duplication glitches, item glitches are left alone, because think about what they have patched and what they have not patched. They patched the portable refiner dupe. Do you guys remember that one? You used to be able to take the portable refiners and stack them next to each other, and as a result you used to be able to pull out items out of the portable refiner super fast. You could just back out, go back in, pull out the item, back out, go back in, pull out the item. They duped that super quick. The total inventory dupe that we used to do with multiplayer before the Nexus even came around, we're doing this total where you could dupe the entire inventory of your exosuit or the entire inventory of your starship in just mere seconds. Just all it was a refresh of your game, and you had everything duplicated. That was huge. And then they did it was the ship scrap, where you could scrap a ship super quick. Now they still have one of the ship scrap dupes that are still in the game, but you have to wait for a ship to come, you have to go and do this and do that. It takes a little bit more work. But that old ship scrap dupe, where you used to be able to just scrap a ship, and if you caught the screen in the right amount of time, you could just go right back into it and scrap it, right back to it and scrap it. That was huge. They patched that sucker fast. The things that they didn't patch: you can go into your personal refiner and you can dupe items just like you used to do with your portable refiner, except it's a little bit slower because you have to create a save. You got to go to the Nexus. You got to do some little things like that requires that you play the game more than you did with the portable refiner dupe. That was just way too easy, just way too easy. And then there are still refiner duplication glitches that you do, but you still have to do some stuff. You still gotta go out to orbit. You still have to do some little tricky things in order to get it to work. So the dupes that HG decides to patch are the big ones that allow you to do things so fast that it's just like, okay, dude, we have to do something about this. Like we just have to do something about this. And the ones that they leave alone are the ones that require a little bit more work. They're smaller glitches. You know, HG knows that they're there, but they decide not to mess with those. They decide not to patch those. And they do that for a very particular reason. Now, why do you think that is? Do you think that item duplication, the dupe glitches, bugs, workarounds, does it impact time played? Right? Because when it boils down to it, does it cause people to like, oh, I duped a lot of stuff, I'm bored now, I'm gonna go play something else, right? Does it impact time played? And the answer is no. Back in the launch period, playtime had an average player playing around 20 or so hours. No matter who you were, if you put in an MS, you played it for about 20 hours before you realized you loved it or you didn't like it at all.
This core, secret truth underneath that we are watching, the average person. So we sold many millions of copies. The average person's playing for 25 hours, right? Which is much higher. It doesn't sound that much. 25 hours of playing a game. I will play a bunch of games a year for 25 hours, but the average game, AAA game, is nowhere near that kind of number generally, right? That's an extremely high number. So we're looking at that, and we know that people either are enjoying it or want to enjoy it more, and that there's an audience for it.
By the time 2019 rolled around, that had doubled to over 45 hours that the average player was playing the game. And this isn't because the dedicated players like us are just putting in thousands of hours up on the top end of that spectrum and just skewing the numbers. That's not the case. They judge that based off of 0 to 50 so that the people that were way high weren't affecting the numbers. And the people that just popped the game in for a few minutes and just looked around for a second and left, they didn't skew the numbers either. So it was kind of like that high-low thing where they wiped off the bottom, wiped off the top, and kind of looked at the average players that had just a little bit of play time. What were they doing? And so even Sean Murray himself said, Hello Games and No Man's Sky are enjoying the highest number of active players ever. Right here in the year 2020, 4 years after the game launched, there are more people playing this game right now than have ever played it before. That includes non-dupers. That includes dupers. That includes the cloud guy. He's probably still playing the game. He likes the clouds now. The clouds got fixed, so he's back. So really, in conclusion, let me just say this. If you play No Man's Sky and you're using item duplication, dupe glitches, workarounds, bugs, cheats, whatever it is, or if you're playing No Man's Sky without any sidestepping of any kind, you're playing it straight up, straight as Hello Games has intended, HG has you right where they want you. Because either way, no matter what side of the spectrum that you fall on, you're still playing the game.
No Man's Sky has become like actually more and more popular as a game. More and more people play it every month, and it's very, very popular.
Thank you for joining me, guys. I just wanted to have a quick conversation about dupers, dupe glitches. What are you? Are you a duper? Or are you one of those straight up people that just like play the game straight up? I mean, like, what do you do? How do you play the game? I wanted to just have a quick conversation with you guys. Where do you land? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Hello Games doesn't care. Do you care? Let me know down in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for all of the support. I appreciate it. This has been an amazing journey for NMS. I love you guys. I'll check you out on the next one.